now available in paperback. From the author of the critically acclaimed book The Man Crisis comes The Woman Crisis. Learn why so many women have become lost in their quest to have it all in The Woman Crisis. Get your copy of The Woman Crisis in paperback at Amazon.com and online booksellers today. A white female Los Angeles schoolteacher was arrested for allegedly graping a 13-year-old boy who she allegedly left her husband for and called her crystal meth.
Now new this morning, an LAUSD teacher under arrest accused of sexually assaulting one of her students. NBC4's Brittany Hope live in Hancock Park with the allegations and the search for more potential victims. Brittany.
Yeah, hey, Adrian, good morning. So school starts here at John Burroughs Middle School in about 90 minutes. This teacher's name is listed as working here, but at this point, it's not clear if the allegations of what happened here at this school or happened with a student who goes to school here. We also don't know the status of her employment, but we do want to show you this. It's really important this morning. This is a photo of 43-year-old Colleen Jo Madarico, who was arrested yesterday. She lives in Valley Village. LAPD shared this photo because their detectives believe there are more people who have not come forward. They hope releasing the teacher's photo can help them find other victims. Police say Madarico is a teacher and claim she groomed and sexually assaulted a 13-year-old in her classroom. Investigators say she later convinced the team to have sexual intercourse in her vehicle. We are working to confirm if those allegations indeed happened at this middle school and are reaching out to LAUSD and school leadership. A LinkedIn page for Madarico says she has experience as a special education teacher with the district. She is now facing a list of charges from the district attorney. You can see them on your screen. They include 5 counts of lewd acts with a minor, 2 counts of lewd acts with a minor 14 or 15 years old, and 1 count of furnishing marijuana to a minor. Jail records do show she is still in custody this morning. But back out here live, LAPD says they need your help. That's why they released her photo. Again, they want to find any other potential victims in this. So if you or a loved one could have been impacted, if you have any information about this, they want you to give them a call. You can also stay anonymous and give them information through LA Crime Stoppers. Reporting live in Hancock Park, Brittany Hope for Today in LA.
Now, in this disturbing alleged incident, 43-year-old Colleen Jo Madarico, who was a mother of 2, is alleged to have gone out here and pursued a sexual relationship with a 13-year-old boy. And as she participated in this sexual relationship with this 13-year-old boy over a year, she eventually wound up allegedly leaving her husband and her 2 children because she believed that she was in love with him. And according to the district attorney's office, she basically called this boy her crystal meth and had an alleged addiction to him. Now, many of the family members of Colleen Jo Madarico, who worked at John Burroughs Middle School, begged her to end this inappropriate criminal relationship. However, she continued to pursue this relationship and basically waited for him in her car, where she allegedly wound up participating in inappropriate sexual relations with this boy and also furnished him marijuana before it eventually was reported, and Colleen Jo Madarico wound up getting arrested and charged with this series of crimes as related to sexually abusing this 13-year-old boy. Now, the Los Angeles police see the alleged behavior of Colleen Jo Madarico as an isolated incident, but when I take a critical examination of Colleen Jo Madarico's alleged behavior, it's fitting a growing and disturbing pattern of behavior that I've been seeing with feminist indoctrinated, specifically white female teachers, that I talk about in my book, The Woman Crisis. Now, in The Woman Crisis, I talk about how we are getting this disturbing trend of females, especially white female teachers, going out here and looking to sexually abuse teenage boys and preteen boys, and how this whole trend is basically has started out of many of these women participating in sexual promiscuity. And because these women wound up participating in sexual promiscuity, what happens is they don't know how to have a healthy relationship with a man. And it looks like to me that Colleen Jo Martorico basically had a serious problem with having a relationship with her husband. And because she had issues with possibly having issues with submitting to her husband in that relationship, this is what led to her having this issue to look to pursue this preteen boy, because she was not addicted to the boy as related to love. No, what this woman was addicted actually to was the power she could have over this boy, because she felt like she could not have any sort of power in her relationship as a wife to her husband. And because she felt powerless in her relationship with her husband, this is where she looked to try to find a relationship where she could have actual power, because she couldn't have that power as related to being a mother and a grandmother, because those children, basically, she could not go out here and have that type of power that she wanted to have over someone. And this is what possibly led to her, this middle school teacher, looking to pursue this 13-year-old boy who was just entering into puberty. And just as he was entering into puberty, she was looking to foster a codependent relationship with this boy, and looking to have the power she wanted to have in a relationship with a man, and wanted to have that power over that person, because she felt powerless about her relationship with her husband. And as she started to have this relationship with this 13-year-old boy, what she was feeling was sating her feelings about having this power and having this power over this boy. As she was having this power over this boy, she then offered up her body as related to having these sexual relations, again, looking to, sate her emotional need for power with this boy. And as she looked to sate this emotional need for power, this is where she continued to become more obsessed with this boy, to the point where she is becoming so addicted to the power that she had over this boy that she basically called this 13-year-old boy her crystal meth. And as she was addicted to the power she had over this boy, this is where Colleen Jo Martorico, as I believe, wound up becoming so obsessed with this power that she was looking to violate the boundaries as related to the trust that she was given as a school teacher over her charges. And instead of maintaining her professional distance, she looked to go out here and maintain that power, to the point where she was looking to violate the boundary between student and teacher as related to professional distance. Moreover, she was looking to go out here and put her whole livelihood at risk, and her family at risk, and even her freedom, not even concerned about these more important things, such as caring for her children or her grandchildren, or caring for her own safety as related to her life. I mean, this is what happens with many of these feminist indoctrinated women due to the power issues that they have. And again, these power issues basically have a deep root as related to possible sexual abuse in many of these women's childhood and adolescence, or a series of traumatic relationships, or relationships where they no longer feel emotionally satisfied. And because they no longer feel emotionally satisfied, or they're dealing with trauma from previous abuse or many failed relationships due to sexual promiscuity, what happens to these women is they go out here and start instead of looking to have a healthy relationship with a man, they start looking to have relationships with these preteen boys, and again look to have relationships with these preteen boys that are inappropriate, because they want to again be the one who's the leader of the relationship, and because they want to be the leader of the relationship and basically dominate this boy in this codependent, twisted relationship. This is where these women start to again look to abuse these boys, offering up their bodies as related to these encounters, which are basically sexual abuse, because this is not a healthy a relationship at all. No, in an interdependent relationship, an adult man and an adult woman, they basically can share on the same level. They can basically look at each other on the same level. And as they come together in that relationship, both partners are sharing in that relationship. And as they share in that relationship, they basically can become close intimately. And as they become close intimately, they basically, as they come together, they are sharing their body, their mind, and their spirit in sexual intercourse, where they can share love with each other. But in these relationships that these women want to have, again, these predators are preying on a vulnerable boy. They prey on the vulnerable boy who has no real understanding of what he is doing, no understanding of how to process the feelings as related to this relationship that this woman wants to try to foster, and codependency. They have no understanding of how to process the emotions as related to the sexual relationship this woman wants to foster, and have even no understanding of their own body. And this is why a teenage boy cannot consent the same way a teenage girl cannot consent to sex, because neither one understands what they're doing, and neither one understands the consequences of their actions. And since they don't understand what they're doing, this is where these women basically become predators, similar to the way many males become predators. And as these women become predators, again, they basically manipulate the emotions of this boy to participate in behavior they don't understand. And they look to then do this to gratify their feelings. And again, gratify their feelings because this is how they get their pleasure from power. They get their pleasure from having power over this boy. And this is where they wind up corrupting and maladjusting this boy, because you're exposing him to things he's not emotionally or mentally ready for. He's not mentally or emotionally ready for this type of behavior, for anything sexual. And this is where this woman, again, goes from looking to go out here and participate in the sexual abuse of this boy. And in the case of this woman, she basically was looking to possibly groom this boy, and again, look to groom this boy into becoming the ideal for the man that she wanted to have a relationship with. This is another aspect of these specifically white female teachers looking to pursue these relationships with these teenage boys, is that they're looking to try to turn these boys into the man, their idealized man that they have imagined in their heads. And because they don't want to deal with an actual man who has actual thoughts, opinions, and ideas of his own, and wants to be the leader in the relationship, what they want to do is go out here and try to groom this boy into becoming the idealized man, and hope to have this relationship with this boy as he grows into manhood, and basically make this boy into what they really want to have in a man. Now, this whole idea, again, of grooming this boy and making him into a man is something very similar to many feminist indoctrinated women try to do with their sons. A lot of feminist indoctrinated women do this also to their sons, but there's no sexual component to it. What they do is try to make their son into this perfect man. But sadly, what they do is basically socially engineer this boy in both cases to become a maladjusted beta male, because that beta male, again, is becoming dysfunctional because he's under the leadership of women and being groomed to follow the leadership of women. So this boy will never become an actualized man. No, he can't become an actualized man, because the only way for a boy to become an actualized man is if he has a father in his life, and the father is teaching him and preparing him with male life skills and male survival skills, and teaching him all about the nuances of manhood and masculinity. But these women don't want to deal with a man who actually is raised by a father. They don't want to deal with a man who is a leader and a head. No, They don't want to deal with a man who's a leader and a head, because many of these women basically have been indoctrinated into feminism. And as they've been indoctrinated into feminism, they basically want to be the ones who have the actual power. And this is where they have the issues. And again, because they have these issues with men telling them what to do, have issues with men being in the position of head that God placed in his natural order. These women, because they have issues with a man being in that position, and these men basically going out here and doing things they disagree with, and basically having complete control over the home, what they look to do is look to try to find someone who is weaker than a man. And when they go looking for that person who is weaker than a man, they go looking for the preteen and teenage boy. Again, a child who is still trying to learn how life works. And what they do is maladjust that boy so that he doesn't learn how life works in a healthy fashion. And by doing this, by, again, allegedly grooming these boys, by offering their bodies up sexually, what this does is, again, maladjust this boy so that he doesn't understand how healthy relationships work and how relationships work in a healthy fashion between men and women. And again, these women basically prey on these boys. And what's really disturbing is we're seeing more and more of these women preying on teenage boys at an increasing frequency, and many in the mainstream media and many in the government don't want to really talk about this new trend as related to the woman crisis. Some of them don't want to talk about it because many of these beta males receive benefit from being able to get easier sexual access from these women, and many of these males out here have been, again, had their minds corrupted by mainstream media, like movies, again, like Summer of 42, movies like American Pie, which promoted the whole idea of the MILF that the teenagers would see as attractive as an older woman, and many pornographic films which showed older women with people who played like teenage boys. And as they sat there watching these films, they believed that being involved with an older woman was a rite of passage. And because this has been ingrained into American culture ever since the sexual revolution, many teenage boys believe that this having a sexual relationship with an older woman is an accomplishment. However, what they don't understand is that this woman basically is committing a crime where she's basically, again, looking to corrupt a minor. And basically, as she's looking to corrupt a minor, as they talked about in the 1940s with the movie In the Mood with the Woo Woo Kid, again, they were basically prosecuting these women. And again, prosecuting these women because this is a sex crime, and one of the worst sex crimes, but the mainstream media won't go out here and present it as one of the most dangerous sex crimes, because the same way an adult man having a sexual relationship with a preteen or teenage girl is, again, sexual deviancy. This is sexual deviancy as well. And again, the sexual deviant is not having a relationship with a boy at all. No, they are living in a rose-colored reality, and that was shown by the way this woman, Colleen, basically was talking about this boy. The way she talked about this boy, saying that he was her crystal meth, showed me that she was basically living in a rose-colored reality, projecting her fantasies onto this boy. And as she projected her fantasies onto this boy, as related to looking to, again, create this ideal as related to this boy being her ideal lover, she basically, again, was, as she was creating this fantasy, in reality was abusing this boy in her secret world. And like many beta males who live in the secret world, such as serial killers and other sexual predators, Colleen Jo Matricio basically, allegedly, as I see it, was winding up where her lines were blurring as related to those two worlds. And as those two worlds wound up colliding, this is where people started to show concern for her. And they showed concern for her because they saw her whole perception of reality starting to twist. And they saw her whole perception of reality starting to twist because she was basically looking to, again, sacrifice things like her intangibles of womanhood, such as her dignity, by lowering her self-worth to believe that a relationship with a boy was better than an adult man, sacrificing her self-respect in compromising her own personal and professional reputation, and putting her own freedom at risk because she was looking to, again, participate in committing this crime. And this is the type of thing that, again, many beta males and feminist indoctrinated women do as related to participating in these criminal behaviors, because their whole perception of reality is one where they're basically looking to live in this secret, make the secret world into a reality. And as she looked to make it a secret world into a reality, this is where people became concerned when they saw this mother of two teenagers and a grandmother basically winding up going out here and looking to walk away from her husband, walk away from a long marriage that was basically going on, and basically put her own career in jeopardy. This is where people became concerned for her, and as they became concerned for her, they basically worried about her, and again, because they saw this woman in crisis, and this woman basically was so caught up in her obsession with power over this boy, she said that she was willing to go to jail for this boy, and that really shows how this woman really was a woman who was deep in crisis, because she didn't know how to have, again, a healthy relationship with a man, or basically was in a situation where her relationship with her husband wound up deteriorating. This woman really, again, is a woman who's on the road to depravity, and again, truly does need to wind up, again, being out of the school system, and definitely should be terminated, because this person is a clear and present danger to children. Again, a teacher's job is to protect children, and part of protecting children is understanding your professional distance between your students and yourselves, and understanding that a student is a child. This is a child that, again, is impressionable and vulnerable, and it's your job to protect children. And again, what I'm seeing with this whole new trend of feminist indoctrinated women is that they have no sort of care for children, no willingness to nurture. And again, that's because many feminists see men and women as the same, and because they see men and women as the same, they don't have any sort of nurturing as related to children, and don't really know how to set boundaries the way men do. No, because these women are basically caught up in their feelings about having power, they are willing to break boundaries, and that's what makes this new trend of white female teachers participating in preying on teenage and preteen boys a very disturbing one, because we don't know when they're going to do this or if they're going to do this, because these women do not have a healthy understanding of relationships. They don't have a healthy understanding of how to have a relationship with a man, and since they are scared of yielding power to a man in a relationship, this is what has them looking to be the dominant one over a child. And again, this is all part of what's happening with these specifically white female teachers. And I go in depth on this in my book, The Woman Crisis, because this is basically a trend that has come out of the sexual revolution as related to the sexual promiscuity of modern Western women. And as those modern Western women have, again, dissatisfying relationships, what they do is look to find a relationship where they can actually have that power. And since they cannot go out here and have power over an adult man, in many cases, what they look to do, again, is have that power over this preteen boy. And again, this is where their behavior becomes criminal. And this is where their behavior becomes so criminal that they have to wind up getting arrested, and why we're seeing so many white female teachers getting arrested like this woman. And as they get arrested, they wind up going from being professionals on their way to having a career where they could possibly go out here and retire, like this 43-year-old woman, to winding up on the road to heading to the county jail. And then from the county jail, if they are convicted and don't get a slap on the wrist, but actually have to do time in prison, they wind up under the authority of the COs, and then under the authority of Betty, Bertha, Martha, and Big Lou. And they go from being in a classroom where they were giving out reward cookies as incentives to winding up being traded for Little Debbie snack cakes, ramen noodles, packets of Crystal Light lemonade, packets of Crystal Light tea, Taster's Choice coffee, off-brand lemon lime drink, off-brand grape drink, off-brand fruit punch, off-brand apple juice, off-brand Oreo cookies, off-brand duplex cookies, off-brand vanilla wafers, off-brand ginger snaps, Hunt's snack pack puddings, beef summer sausages, jalapeno peppers, packets of cheese, packets of honey mustard, packets of soy sauce, packets of sriracha sauce. I mean, they're traded for all of the commissary as they're playing spades games, and that's basically what happens as they wind up having to deal with trying to make deals with Martha and Big Lou and all of these women inside of the penitentiary. And again, this is the fate that messes up these women, where they wind up throwing away a career and possibly, again, winding up destroying their personal and professional reputation because they don't understand the concept of boundaries and the concept of looking to go out here and preserve boundaries as related to protecting children. And again, this is what happens when you have feminist indoctrinated women. They don't understand that a woman's job, because many feminists, again, they minimize and discount being a mother. They minimize and discount being a mother, so they don't see a child as a person they need to protect. And that's what's scary about this group of women. Again, they basically are starting to become sexual predators because they don't understand how to nurture children or care about children. That's what's really scary about a lot of them. And some of them, again, like this one who had children, again, this is a scary situation. This woman had children and grandchildren and just, again, looked to, again, do this to this boy. But the whole thing that's scarier than this is that many here in America don't want to acknowledge the woman crisis in this country. They don't want to acknowledge the woman crisis in this country and how turning women into feminists is leading to more and more women becoming the face of sexual predation, especially white females, because more and more white females are participating in these kind of sex crimes, and it is a troubling and disturbing trend, that many don't want to acknowledge about the woman crisis, because the whole thing is, if we acknowledge this, we have to acknowledge that these people are putting our children at risk. And again, if we have to acknowledge this, we have to really change the culture. And I really do believe we do need to change the culture, because if we've got more and more grown women preying on teenage boys and sexually abusing them, we really do need to change the culture and change the way that we are raising girls to become women. Because when you have grown women believing that it's their right to sexually abuse a boy, that's a nation in decline, and basically proves the point about the old African proverb the late David Carroll used to talk about, where he said the race can rise no higher than the moral position of its women, and as the woman goes, so goes the race. And if your women are out here preying on your boys, that's basically making the direction of your race go into a major state of decline, because when your boys are being abused, they're not raised to become healthy men. No, they become men in crisis. And instead of there being good men out here to protect and preserve society, what you have are men in crisis. And those men in crisis create chaos because they don't have a good understanding of being a man, because the first teachers of them, who were women, basically went out here and violated that trust because in some cases these women have traumas. Some of these women have daddy issues. Some of them have serious issues that make them unfit to be in a place where they need to be around children. And again, we really do need to change this culture, because if your women's moral position is as low as this, then it's basically going to ensure that we're not going to get healthy men and women, but we're going to be raising girls and boys to grow up to become men and women in crisis. Now, if you want to learn how to identify the behaviors of these types of females who look to prey on boys, or to understand what motivates these type of women to participate in this type of criminal behavior, you can pick up my book, The Woman Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Woman Crisis at other online booksellers like Draft to Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you would like to see me make more videos talking about these type of women in crisis and the damage they do to society, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available for the first time in paperback, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. Learn all the reasons why so many Black women can't find a husband and why 70% of Black women are single. Get your copy of Why 70% of Black Women Are Single on Amazon.com today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.